My parents kicked me and my kids out of Thanksgiving dinner, so I cut off their mortgage payments. Now they're begging for help after my sister's life fell apart. Before we begin the story, take a moment to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support means the world to our channel and helps us spread more shocking true stories to light. Now let's get started. The invitation to disaster. This whole nightmare began about 4 months ago. My younger brother, Ryan, 30M, kept urging me, Luke, 34M, to come home for Thanksgiving. He called me over and over, swearing that this time would be different. Everyone misses you, man. The kids, too. Come on, it'll be good. I had my doubts. I'd skipped the last few family gatherings, and honestly, spending time with my parents was like sticking my hand into a running garbage disposal. Painful, stupid, avoidable. But Ryan kept insisting. So, against my better judgment, I caved. Maybe, just maybe, things had changed. Who I am versus who they think I am. For a little background on me, I'm not some down-on-his-luck deadbeat. I've built a solid life for myself. I work as a financial advisor at a mid-sized firm downtown. Not some flashy, Silicon Valley, tech bro gig, but a stable, well-paying career that lets me help people manage their money wisely. Outside of work, I coach my son's little league team, volunteer at a local food bank when I can, and generally have my life together. I've been happily married to Hannah, 32F, for over 11 years now. We met in college. She was a psychology major, this brilliant, gorgeous woman who, for some reason, found my economics-loving nerdy ass interesting. Even now, 8 months pregnant with our third child, she's still the most beautiful woman I know. We have 2 kids already, Noah, 10M, and Lily, 7F. Noah, a mini version of me. Athletic, outgoing, already obsessed with sports stats and probability models, which of course makes my financial advisor heart proud. Lily, quieter but scary smart. Already reading at a 6th grade level, constantly asking questions that leave me scrambling for answers. And despite all this, despite my stable career, my loving wife, my amazing kids, I've always been the family disappointment. Why? Because I didn't follow in my father's footsteps into his law practice. Because I married Hannah, a woman my mother deemed not refined enough. Translation: Hannah doesn't tolerate my mother's manipulative bullshit. Because I don't kiss their asses like my sister Lauren, 32F, does. But hey, maybe Thanksgiving would be different this time, right? Yeah, not a chance. The Thanksgiving ambush. So, Thanksgiving Day rolls around. Hannah decides to stay home. She's been having Braxton Hicks contractions and needs to rest. Understandable. So, I take Noah and Lily with me, thinking at the very least it'll be nice for them to see their grandparents and play with their cousins. I don't show up empty-handed either. I bring a damn nice bottle of Malbec, not cheap, for my dad. I also pick up an elegant fall-themed floral arrangement for my mom. And I make sure the kids are dressed nicely. Noah in a crisp button-up, Lily in her favorite dress with bright yellow sunflowers. I really tried. But the second we walk through the front door, I feel it. The temperature in the room drops a solid 10 degrees. The dining room is set up like something out of a Martha Stewart magazine. Fancy china, real silverware, crystal wine glasses, a golden brown turkey glistening in the center of the table. And every seat is already taken. Seated at the table are Richard, 66M, and Margaret, 64F, my parents. Lauren, 32F, and her husband, Greg, 34M. Their kids, Ethan, 9M, and Sophie, 7F, who in my parents' eyes are the only grandchildren who matter. But here's the kicker. There are no seats for me or my kids. Not a single extra chair. Not even a damn paper plate on a side table. My mom pretends to be too busy adjusting the turkey to notice us. My dad, arms crossed over his chest, looking at me like I just dragged dog shit across his expensive Persian rug. And then he says it. Why did you bring the kids? We didn't invite you. Why are you even here? Cold. Dismissive. Like we were strangers who just crashed their fancy dinner party. The moment everything changed, those words hit like a punch to the gut. I glance down. Lily is hiding behind my leg, clutching my jeans, while Noah just looks confused as hell. My stomach tightens, and this familiar rage starts bubbling up, the kind I usually channel into deadlifts at the gym. Before I can even respond, My dad sighs, like I'm some inconvenience he has to deal with. Well, I suppose you can come in, he says, his voice drenched in condescension, like he's a king graciously allowing a peasant to step inside his palace. But there's no room at the table. The message is clear. Noah and Lily? Not as important as Lauren's kids. Me? Not really family. I glance over at Lauren, who's seated right next to my dad, in what's basically the throne spot of the dining table. The place of honor. She's smiling. Not a warm, welcoming smile. No, it's smug. Triumphant. Like she's just won some competition I didn't even know I was playing in. Her husband, Greg, is already half drunk, slurring his words as he rambles about his fantasy football league with my dad. And then my mom, still avoiding my eyes, finally chimes in. You can eat in the kitchen, she suggests, not even looking at me. Or maybe come back later when we're done. Cool me. Back. Later. Like we're DoorDash drivers dropping off their food instead of their own flesh and blood. I take a slow breath, my fists clenching at my sides. I have two options. Option 1. Take my kids and slink away like a kicked dog. Option 2. Stand my ground. I choose the latter. So Lauren is the golden child now, huh? I say, keeping my voice steady even though I can feel my blood pressure spiking. Now that she's climbing the corporate ladder, you don't need my help anymore. Lauren rolls her eyes, like a teenager getting scolded for breaking curfew. Help, she scoffs. No one relies on you, Luke. Don't be so dramatic. And just like that, something clicks. For years, I've been helping my parents financially. $800 a month toward their mortgage payments, every single month without fail. $3,600 to cover their overdue property taxes 3 years ago. $5,000 to fix their leaky roof last year when their insurance wouldn't cover it. All this while I'm saving for my own kids' college funds and preparing for a third child. And they still treat me like I'm nothing. Suddenly, it feels like a weight has lifted off my shoulders, like I've been carrying around a 100-pound sandbag for years and just realized I can drop it any time I want. I smile. A real, genuine smile. That's great, I say. That means I don't have to cover the mortgage payments anymore. Lauren could take care of it now. You should have seen their faces. My dad's smug expression? Gone. Replaced with pure panic. My mom? Whipping her head around so fast. I'm surprised she didn't give herself whiplash. Lauren? She straightens up in her chair, looking like someone just shoved an icicle down the back of her shirt. Wait. She squeaks, her voice suddenly an octave higher. I shrug, feeling calmer than I have in years. You don't need me, right? I say smoothly. So, I'll stop sending those extra payments. Lauren can take care of it now, with that big promotion she was bragging about. The silence in the room is thick enough to cut with one of my mom's fancy butter knives. It's poetic, really. Just minutes ago, I was the embarrassment, the unwanted, uninvited outcast. Now, I'm suddenly the most important person in the room. The fallout begins. Lauren tries to laugh it off. A nervous, high-pitched giggle that doesn't reach her eyes. Come on, Luke, she says, voice trembling just a little. You wouldn't do that to Mom and Dad. My father clears his throat, shifting into lawyer mode, his tone suddenly all calculated diplomacy. Now, Luke, he says smoothly, like I'm one of his damn clients instead of his son. Let's not be hasty. Your mother and I appreciate your contributions to the household expenses. Contributions. Like I've just been dropping spare change in their collection plate. Not keeping a goddamn roof over their heads. Lauren's head snaps toward my parents, confusion flashing across her face. Dad, she hisses. What is he talking about? What payments? Oh, so she didn't know. That explains a lot. She's always acted so smug, always so sure that she was the favored child, the most successful, the one who had it all figured out. And yet, all this time, I was the one bankrolling our parents. I glanced down at my kids. Noah is staring at the floor, jaw clenched. Lily is still hiding behind me. That's it. All right, guys, I say, turning to them. Let's go. We're not wanted here. My father's voice sharpens. Are you really doing this, Luke? He snaps, his face flushing crimson. On Thanksgiving, I exhale slowly, keeping my voice even, though I want to yell. You just said we weren't welcome. I lift my hands in mock surrender. I'm just respecting your wishes. Lauren looks between me and my parents, the reality finally sinking in. She swallows hard. Her voice drops. You wouldn't actually stop paying, would you? I meet her eyes. Dead serious. Cold. Unshaken. Watch me. And with that, I take my kids by the hand and head for the door. And for the first time in my life, I feel completely in control. The walkout. As I turn toward the door, I notice someone standing near the kitchen entrance. Ryan. Unlike the rest of them, he isn't gaping at me in shock or anger. He just looks ashamed. Hands shoved into his pockets, gaze fixed on the floor. He hasn't said a single word this whole time. I pause for a second, acknowledging him. Ryan, I say with a nod. He finally looks up, his face full of regret. I'm sorry, man, he mutters, barely audible. I didn't know it would be like this. And you know what? I believe him. Ryan has always been caught in the middle. Not the golden child like Lauren, but also not the family ATM like me. Just there, floating in the background, trying to keep the peace. Not your fault, I tell him. Then I turn, slam the door behind me hard enough to rattle the windows, and step out into the cold November air. It feels good, like a slap to the face that wakes you up. Explaining the unexplainable. In the car, I grip the steering wheel, hands still shaking slightly. I hadn't planned on cutting them off financially today, but now that I've said it out loud, it feels absolutely right. The ride home is quiet. Noah and Lily lost in their thoughts. Then, finally, a small voice from the back seat. Dad, it's Lily. I glance at her through the rearview mirror. Yes, sweetheart. She hesitates. Then, in the smallest, saddest voice. Why don't Grandma and Grandpa want us at their house? I feel that question like a gut punch. I take a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Some people just don't know how to treat family right, sweetie. I glance at Noah. He's staring out the window, arms crossed. He's older. He gets it. Your aunt too, I add. But don't worry. We got each other. And that's what matters. But Noah? He isn't so easily convinced. He turns toward me, his voice sharp, suspicious. Were you really giving them money, Dad? Smart kid. Nothing gets past him. Yeah, buddy, I admit. I was helping them out with their house payments. For a long time. His brows furrow. But not anymore. I shake my head. Nope. Because they were mean to us? Lily asks. I pause. Partly, I say. But mostly, because when people don't appreciate your help, sometimes the best thing you can do is stop helping. Noah nods slowly. He's thinking it over. Processing. Then, finally he says, like when I kept helping Trevor with his math homework, but he never said thank you, and then called me a nerd? I chuckle. Exactly like that, bud. And just like that, I see it click into place for him. The rest of the drive is quiet. But it's a good kind of quiet. Like we've closed the door on something that never deserved us in the first place. The real Thanksgiving. When we get home, Hannah is waiting in the living room. She's sitting on the couch, one hand resting on her belly, the other gripping a glass of water so tightly I think it might shatter. She sees my face and the kids' expressions and immediately knows something went down. They did that in front of the kids? She asks, her voice dangerously quiet. I nod. Yeah, they did. Tell me everything. So I do. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell her about how they acted like we weren't invited, how there were no seats for us, how they told us to eat in the kitchen like we were second-class citizens, how I cut them off, right then and there. By the time I finish, Hannah's free hand is clenched into a fist, and then she delivers the final blow. Then they're not part of our family anymore. Period. And that's why I love my wife. She doesn't take bullshit from anyone. Not even my parents. Not even people who are supposed to be family. I exhale. Also, I told them I'm cutting off the mortgage payments. Hannah's eyebrows shoot up. Then, slowly she smiles. Good, she says. It's about damn time. A Thanksgiving that actually mattered. The kids are hungry. We miss Thanksgiving dinner. But honestly, who cares? Instead of eating stuffy, awkward turkey with people who treat us like outsiders, we order pizza. We curl up on the couch. We put on The Incredibles and laugh like idiots at all the parts we've seen 1,000 times before. And sitting there with my pregnant wife, my 2 kids snuggled up against me, I realize something. This is what Thanksgiving is supposed to feel like. Not obligation. Not guilt. Not feeling like you have to prove your worth just to be included. Just love. Just family. The real kind. The weight lifts. The next morning, I wake up feeling lighter. Like a massive weight I've been carrying for years is suddenly gone. First thing I do, cancel the automatic transfer to my parents' bank account. No more $800 a month down the drain. No more late-night guilt trips from my mom, asking for just a little extra this month. No more feeling like I'm nothing more than a walking ATM for a family that doesn't even respect me. Instead, that money goes straight into our baby fund. And for the first time in years, I don't feel guilty about it. If anything, I feel damn good. The calls start rolling in. Of course, my parents don't take long to notice the missing payments. The calls start almost immediately. At first, it's anger. How dare you embarrass us like that? You're acting so childish. This is a family responsibility, Luke. I don't answer. I let them scream into my voicemail. Then, it shifts into guilt tripping. After everything we've done for you. We raised you. This is how you repay us. Your father isn't getting any younger, Luke. He doesn't need this kind of stress. Delete, delete, delete. And finally, the desperation. Please call us back. We need to talk about the mortgage. No, we really don't. Lauren tries texting me too. Real mature, Luke. Mom and Dad are upset. Fix this. Blocked. Ryan, though, he doesn't text. He shows up. The first sign of real trouble. It's a Tuesday night when there's a knock at my door. When I open it, Ryan is standing there. And he looks like absolute shit. His normally neat appearance? Disheveled. Wrinkled shirt, stubble on his face, dark circles under his eyes. Something's wrong. Hey, he says, voice exhausted. Can I come in? Ryan doesn't just drop by without texting first. So yeah, something is definitely up. I'll let him in. We sit at the kitchen table. For a minute, he just runs a hand over his face, staring at nothing. Then he finally speaks. Lauren lost her job. I laugh. Like actually laugh out loud. Because seriously? You can't make this shit up. Lauren's perfect life falls apart. Didn't she just get that big promotion? I ask, still smirking. Ryan sighs. Deep. Heavy. Yeah, they fired her yesterday. He leans back in his chair, rubbing his temples like this whole situation is giving him a migraine. She's completely screwed, man. I raise an eyebrow. Let me guess. She spent every penny before she even got her first paycheck. Ryan nods, looking pained. Exactly. She went full-on I made it mode, bought designer handbags, put a deposit down on a new BMW, started renovations on their kitchen. Thought she was hot shit. Then boom, job's gone, money's gone. I shake my head. Classic Lauren. She's always been reckless with money. Even as a kid, she'd blow her entire allowance on the first day and then run to our parents, playing the victim until they gave her more. And they always did. Some things never change. So what happened? I ask. Ryan hesitates. Then he sighs again. She might have exaggerated her qualifications a bit on her resume. I let out a low whistle. Zochelit. Pretty much, he admits. But that's not even the worst part. I lean forward, intrigued despite myself. Oh, do tell. Ryan lowers his voice, even though it's just the two of us in the house. She didn't just get fired, Luke. She's in serious legal trouble. The mess keeps getting worse. Lauren's new boss? Turns out he was embezzling money from the company. And because she was the VP of marketing, she was signing off on the fraudulent expenditures, whether she knew about it or not. So what you're telling me, I say slowly, is that Lauren might be going to jail? Ryan winces. It's possible. She swears she didn't know, but let's be real, Luke. She's always looking for shortcuts. Always trying to climb the ladder the easy way. She got tangled up with the wrong guy, and now it's blowing up in her face. I let out a low chuckle. Karma's a bitch. Ryan rubs his face. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. Mom and Dad are losing their minds. They were counting on her to help with the bills now that you've stopped. And there it is. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. So what? You're here to ask me to bail them out. Ryan shakes his head quickly. No, man. I'm not asking for anything. I thought you should know what's happening. I study his face. He looks exhausted, yeah. But more than that, he looks frustrated. Because for once, he's seeing the truth. He's seeing our parents for what they really are. I sigh, standing up. Good, I say, stretching. Let them figure it out for once. Ryan stares at me, incredulous. You don't mean that? I meet his gaze. Oh, I do. I crush my empty soda can in my hand, tossing it in the trash. They made their choice, Ryan. Dad practically shoved us out the door. Mom couldn't even look at my kids. Lauren laughed in my face. And now? Now, they suddenly remember I exist. Ryan looks down. A muscle in his jaw twitches. I get it. I really do, he mutters. Then, after a beat, he sighs. But it's still hard to watch them panic. I shrug. Not my problem anymore. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Ryan shifts uncomfortably in his seat, rubbing the back of his neck. He wants to argue. I can see it in the way his jaw tightens, the way his fingers tap restlessly against the table. But he knows I'm right. Still, he tries. Dad's been having chest pains, he says finally, watching me carefully for a reaction. Mom keeps crying. Lauren's drinking herself into oblivion. It's a complete shit show over there. I feel a tiny flicker of something, not guilt exactly, maybe concern, but I push it away. Not my circus, not my monkeys, I say flatly. Ryan exhales, rubbing his temples. Yeah, he mutters. Fair enough. We talk for a little while longer about his job at the accounting firm, the baby preparations, his on-again, off-again girlfriend. When he finally stands to leave, he looks lighter. Like just saying it out loud helped him unload some of the weight. At the door, he hesitates. Thanks for listening, man. I nod. Anytime, bro. You're not the problem here. He nods back. Then he's gone. I close the door, exhale, and head upstairs. The midnight call that changes everything. At 1 a.m., my phone starts ringing. I ignore it. Then it rings again, and again, and again. I glance at the screen, Mom. I let it ring. Then the text messages start rolling in. BZZT. Please pick up. It's urgent. BZZT. It's your father. We need you. BZZT. Luke, please. Still, I ignore them. Hannah stirs beside me, still half asleep. Who keeps calling? She mumbles. My mother. I mutter, flipping the phone over so the screen stops lighting up the room. She frowns, eyes still closed. At this hour? What now? I sigh. Who knows? More bullshit, probably. Then, one final text buzzes in. Ryan, pick up. Dad's in trouble. My stomach drops. I sit up, suddenly wide awake. I grab my phone and call Ryan back. He picks up on the first ring. Luke, you need to come over, he says, voice tight with stress. Dad's having chest pains. Mom's freaking out. I run a hand through my hair. Of course. How bad is it? I ask, already swinging my legs over the side of the bed. He doesn't look good, man. He's pale, sweating, barely talking. Ryan pauses, then adds bitterly. Mom tried calling Lauren first. She's not picking up. Apparently, she's been drinking herself into a blackout every night since she got fired. I smirk in the darkness. Oh, you mean the favorite child doesn't want to handle family emergencies? Shocking. Look, come on, Ryan snaps. This is serious. I hesitate. Part of me wants to say not my problem and go back to sleep. But another part of me knows, no matter how much of an asshole my father has been, if something happens to him, I'd never forgive myself. I exhale. Fine. I'm on my way. A family emergency, or just another mess. I throw on a pair of jeans and a hoodie, moving quietly so I don't wake the kids. But Hannah? She's already sitting up, watching me carefully. What's going on? She asks, rubbing sleep from her eyes. I sigh. I don't even know how to explain it without sounding ridiculous. Ryan says Dad's having chest pains. Mom's panicking. They need me to come over. Hannah frowns. You're really going? I pull on my shoes. I just want to make sure it's not serious, I say. I'm not giving them a damn cent. But if the old man's actually dying, I'd rather not find out through a text. She studies my face for a moment, then exhales. Just be careful, she says. Don't let them manipulate you again. I lean down and kiss her forehead. I won't. Then I grab my keys and head out into the cold night. The scene at the house. By the time I pull up to my parents' house, I already know exactly what I'm walking into. Chaos. The living room is fully lit, giving the place a harsh, exposed feel, like a crime scene where something already went wrong. And in the center of it all, my dad, slumped in his recliner, pale and sweating. His hand is clutched to his chest, his face contorted in pain. My mother is pacing in circles, hands wringing, mascara streaked down her face. Even though it's the middle of the night, she's still in full makeup, like she didn't even consider removing the mask before falling apart. The second I step inside, she rushes toward me, grabbing my arm like a lifeline. "Luke, thank God you're here," she sobs. "Your father, he can't breathe properly." I don't know what to do. I stare at her. Then something clicks in my brain. "Did you call 911? I ask. She blinks, like it never even crossed her mind. Jesus Christ. I yank my phone out of my pocket. "Jesus, Mom. If he's having a heart attack, you call an ambulance, not me." I dial 911 while she keeps pacing, whimpering to herself. They're true priorities. As I talk to the dispatcher, I notice something. Mom isn't panicking about Dad's health. She's panicking about what happens if he dies. What happens to her? What happens to their house? Then, when I hang up, she finally admits it. "We didn't know who to call," she sniffles. "Lauren wasn't answering, and we thought maybe you could drive him to the hospital." I stare at her. Then the realization hits me like a truck. "You call me before calling for help," I say slowly. She looks away, and that's all the confirmation I need. "Unbelievable," I mutter. "They didn't call me because I'm their son. They called me because they still think I'm the one who fixes everything. Not anymore." The ambulance arrives, and so does the truth. The paramedics arrive within minutes. Fast, efficient, professional. They hook my dad up to a monitor, take his vitals. One of them turns to me. "It's not a heart attack," he says, calm but firm. "But his blood pressure is dangerously high, 190/110. That's stroke territory. We're taking him in for observation overnight." I almost laugh. I bet I know what's causing the stress. The paramedic gives me a knowing look. "Family issues often trigger these kinds of episodes," he says, "especially around the holidays." No shit. As they load my dad into the ambulance, my mom turns back to me, gripping my arm tightly. "Luke, please," she begs. "Go with him. I can't drive myself right now." I look down at her. For the first time in my life, I don't see the woman who raised me. I see a woman who has used me. I see a woman who 1 week ago couldn't even look my kids in the eye. I shake my head. "Ryan can take you," I say, nodding toward my brother. She tightens her grip. "I need you." I look her straight in the eyes. "Why?" She blinks, confused. "You didn't need me last week. You didn't even want me at your table." Her face crumbles. "Luke, please. We need help. The bank called today about the mortgage. We're behind on payments." And there it is. I let her words hang in the air. A week ago, I was nothing to these people. Now, I'm suddenly the only person who can save them. I meet her gaze, and I say, without hesitation, "No." Then, I turn and walk out. For the first time in years, I feel completely free. True freedom. As I step outside, the cold November air hits different this time. It doesn't sting. It feels clean, like I've finally exhaled the weight of years of obligation. I get into my car and drive home. No music, no distractions, just the quiet hum of the engine and my own thoughts. And for the first time in a long, long time, I feel at peace. A new kind of morning. The next morning, I'm up early, making breakfast when Hannah walks into the kitchen. She pours herself some orange juice, watching me as I flip pancakes for the kids. "So," she says, arms crossed, "how bad was it?" I shrug. "No heart attack, just high blood pressure, stress-induced." She raises an eyebrow. Waiting. I take a deep breath. "And I told Mom no." Her eyes widen slightly. "Like no? Or your usual no that turns into a reluctant yes later?" I smirk. No. Hannah just stares at me for a second. Then, slowly, a grin spreads across her face. Holy shit. She steps forward and kisses me. A deep, slow kiss that says I'm proud of you louder than words ever could. Then she leans back, still grinning. It's about damn time. Moving on, for real this time. The kids come bounding into the kitchen, still in their pajamas, hair wild from sleep. Lily climbs into her chair. "Pancakes," she squeals. Noah grabs the syrup, already dousing his plate like he's trying to give himself a sugar coma. And me? I just watch them. No drama, no guilt, no tension sitting heavy in my chest. Just breakfast with my real family. And it feels so damn good. The final plea. Later that afternoon, As I'm finishing up at the gym, my phone buzzes. It's Ryan. Again. I pick up. They're really in trouble, Luke, he says. The bank sent a foreclosure notice. I wipe sweat off my forehead. And Ryan sighs. I don't know, man. Mom's talking about taking out a payday loan just to cover this month's mortgage. I wince. Payday loans are financial suicide. That's a terrible idea, I say. Yeah, no shit, Ryan mutters. But they're desperate. I think for a second, then shrug. If they were anyone else, here's what I'd tell them as a financial advisor. Call the bank. Explain the situation. They might be able to work out a payment plan. If not, sell the house. It's too damn big for them anyway. Ryan goes quiet. Then finally, I've been telling them that for years. They won't listen. I grab my water bottle and sling my gym bag over my shoulder. Not your problem. Ryan exhales. Not mine either. Exactly. We hang up, and I walk out into the crisp afternoon air, feeling lighter than ever. For the first time, I don't care what happens next. It's not my mess to clean up anymore. The last attempt. 3 days later, I'm at the office, going over client portfolios when my phone buzzes. It's a text from Ryan. Ryan, Lauren's here at Mom and Dad's. She wants to talk to you. I actually laugh. Out loud. My assistant glances at me, confused. I type back. Me. Not happening. Ryan, Luke, listen. It's bad. Really bad. I don't reply. A minute later, another text. Ryan, she's facing embezzlement charges. The company is pressing charges against her and her boss. She could go to jail. I sigh, pinching the bridge of my nose. I type back. Me. And this is my problem because... Ryan, just come over. Hear them out. That's all I'm asking. I stare at the message for a long time. Part of me wants to ignore it, but another part wants to see what the hell they could possibly say to me now. Against my better judgment, I type back. Me, fine. After work. The final showdown. When I pull up to the house, Lauren's car is parked in the driveway, one tire up on the lawn like she barely managed to park straight. I take a deep breath. I'm not here to help them. I'm here to see how low they're willing to go. I walk in without knocking. And the scene inside? It's like a bad soap opera. Dad is in his recliner, looking frail and old. Mom is standing nearby, wringing her hands like she's about to faint. And Lauren? She's sitting on the couch, makeup smeared, eyes red from crying. She's wearing what looks like pajama pants and a stained sweatshirt. The second she sees me, she actually stands up. Luke, she croaks, her voice hoarse. I cross my arms. Ryan said you wanted to talk. She nods frantically. I need your help. We all do. I raise an eyebrow. Help? Funny. I don't remember anyone offering me help when you were laughing in my face last week. Lauren flinches. Mom steps forward. Luke, please. Lauren is in serious trouble. The police questioned her yesterday, and the bank says we have 30 days before they take the house. I laugh. A real, genuine laugh. So now you want my help? I say. After treating me like garbage for years? After throwing me and my kids out like we were nothing? Lauren actually drops to her knees. On her knees. Please, Luke, she sobs. I know I was awful to you. I was jealous. You always had everything together. Good job, happy marriage, great kids. I wanted Mom and Dad to be proud of me like they are of you. I stare at her, stunned. Then I glance at my parents. Are you serious right now? I ask. Mom nods, tears streaming down her face. It's true, Luke. We took you for granted. We assumed you'd always be there. And we took advantage of you. Dad says nothing. He just stares at his hands. I let the silence stretch. Then I smile. A slow, satisfied smile. No. Lauren's face crumbles. No, she repeats, like she can't comprehend the word. No, I say again. I step back toward the door. You made your choices. Now live with them. Mom grabs my arm. Luke, please. I pry her fingers off me. You already lost the only thing that mattered. Then I walk out the door. And this time, I don't look back. The aftermath. 2 weeks pass. 2 weeks of silence. No calls. No texts. No guilt-tripping voicemails. And you know what? It's bliss. Then, out of nowhere, Ryan calls. Just thought you should know, he says. Lauren took a plea deal. No jail time. But she has to pay back 75 grand. She lost her apartment, sold her car, and now she's working at a call center. I smirk. Karma's a bitch. Ryan exhales. Mom and Dad, they're losing the house. Foreclosure notices came in. They've got like a month before the bank takes it. I shrug, completely unfazed. Not my problem. Ryan chuckles. Figured you'd say that. We hang up, and for the first time in my life, I don't feel a single ounce of guilt. The life I actually care about. A month later, Hannah gives birth to our son, Caleb. We don't tell my parents. Why would we? They aren't family anymore. Somehow, they find out anyway. Mom calls. I ignore it. She calls again. I block her number. They send gifts for Lily's birthday. I donate them to Goodwill. The kids never even know they existed. And life has never been better. Ryan ends up moving in with us after our parents kick him out for taking my side. The kids love having him around. He's great with them. He's saving up for his own place, but honestly, I think he's finally realizing what real family looks like. It's been 4 months since I cut them off, and in that time, I sleep better. I hit new personal records at the gym. I've added $35,000 to my kids' college funds, money that would have been wasted on my parents' mortgage. Do I miss them? No. I miss the idea of having real parents. Parents who love and respect you for who you are, not for what you can give them, but the people they really are. The ones who threw me and my kids out like we were nothing, then begged for my help the second their golden child fell apart. No, I don't miss them at all, because my real family is right here. Hannah, Noah, Lily, Caleb, and Ryan, the people who actually give a damn about me. To everyone who said I should be the bigger person, I posted this story, and overnight, my inbox blew up. And of course, there's always a few people saying, but they're still your family. Shouldn't you be the bigger person? To that, I say, I was the bigger person for years, and they walked all over me. Some bridges deserve to be burned, and I have zero regrets. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more real-life family dramas. Let me know in the comments what you think about today's story. Was it fair or totally messed up? See you in the next one.